Hey guys, Blade Master here again, and you're watching the Wolf of Remus Total War channel. And this is another episode in the multiplayer tutorial. And in this episode, I'll be talking a bit about fear builds in general and how best to use an Egyptian fear build and how they're very strong. So, obviously, I'm playing as Egypt, and my opponent is playing as Rome. And we're playing in the pyramid, so that's pretty nice. My build consists of two Galatian swordsmen on the flanks and four thorax swordsmen in the center. They're backed up by two Sobek cultists and two Egyptian archers. I've got a side chariot and a Carian axeman general. I've also got a citizen cav and a Ptolemaic cav and a Nubian spearman on my flanks. So, what fear units do I have? So let's list them. I've got two Sobek cultists, and these Egyptian archers are only going to be firing flaming shot. Flaming shot does a negative 15 penalty to morale, and I believe Sobek cultists have around the same. So probably around like a total negative 30 to enemy morale when both of them are when the archers are firing flaming shots and the Sobek cultists are near enemy units. And then I've also got a side chariot. Now this doesn't have a fear effect, and the reason why I didn't take an African elephant instead is A, because African elephants can be very susceptible to archer fire, and they're quite slow. B, because everyone associates Egypt with elephants at this point, and Egypt and Seleucids, people always think that you're going to bring elephants. And for Seleucid, it kind of it makes sense because those guys have Syrian armored elephants and regular elephants. I mean, armored elephants. But for Egypt, African war elephants aren't the greatest. So I think a side chariot is much more effective at dealing a lot of casualties at a short span of time. And the reason why I didn't bring a chariot general and I brought in Carian axeman general is because side chariots are just a glass cannon, so they will deal a bunch of deaths, but you can be rest assured that your general most likely will die if you're using your chariots. Um, so yeah, that's why I did. That's why I just left them as their own unit. One of the disadvantages that Egypt has, and I think it's a big reason why people don't bring Egypt now, is that they don't have good mid-tier cavalry. Citizen Cav is just a good utility cav, but it cannot be used well in a melee fight. So Ptolemaic cavalry have, they're very strong cavalry units. Despite the fact that they're shock cav, they will do a bunch of damage against infantry units as well because they have a high melee attack. 50 melee attack and 32 weapon damage is pretty strong. Compare that to melee cav, and they just have 30, and citizen cav just have 37, 32. These guys have 33, 32. So they can perform well in extended melee. Not great, but they'll do pretty good. So that kind of takes care of my, the cavalry. I've got pretty decent cavalry, so I shouldn't be worried about them being too vulnerable. And the reason how I got these Ptolemaic cav is because I didn't bring an elephant, so the extra money that I saved from the chariots allowed me to get these guys and improve my cav. So yeah, that's another reason why I brought side chariots. So now my opponent has overextended his Syrian archers, and he moved up in front. I kited back a little, and now I'm catching his archers with my cav. I've led his chasing equites directly to my army, and they're just going to intercept the equites, and I've got a rear charge with my Ptolemaic cav. Similar thing happening over here. I've sent my Ptolemaic cav to attack his equites, and I think I change and I've ordered them to chase the archers. My citizen cav got a bunch of kills of his archers, but now I've basically sacrificed them. I couldn't, I couldn't micro all of them very well, especially since there was another, cavalry coming here. So I kept them over there, and they're about to rout very soon. My opponent uses fire arrows, which is a pretty smart move because they've got only 30 morale now. I catch a little bit of his archers with my other Ptolemaic cav, or with this Ptolemaic cav, and with this one I just back out because they were getting too close to his infantry. His army is comprised of 8 Saki Extraordinary, the guys who have very high armor and high health, and 2 Equites, 2 Triarii, 1 Gladiator Spearman, and originally 4 archers, but I think I've routed one of them now. And his other Triarii who were chasing my Ptolemaic cav got intercepted by my Galatian swordsman. These guys are very useful in terms of catching spear units or flanking or rear charging, because they have very high weapon damage and they have decent melee defense. Just don't expect them to last very long in extended combat versus even mid-tier units. So kind of use them like an like you would a Celtic warrior, but they're stronger Celtic warriors. So now I get a cycle charge with my cavalry, and one of my archers is shooting flaming shot. I set them on flaming shot at the start of this battle, because that's all they're going to be doing. They're not going to inflict many casualties on regular shot, so they're much better used to help rout enemy infantry. So another bit of information about fear effects is that only certain fear effects stack. Sobek cultists have this trait. If you can see the running man icon on your bottom left, um, that's the trait which is called scare everybody, and elephants have this too. So if you pair an elephant with Sobek cultists, it's not going to you're not going to get an extra fear bonus because of that. It'll only be one, and it'll only stack up with flaming shot, which these archers are using. Um, so again, not really a big reason to take elephants. Instead, take chariots, who are easier to deal with, or sorry, easier to use, and they deal just the same amount of casualties. Now my archers are firing flaming shot, and a lot of his units are getting affected. I rear charge one of his Saki extraordinary with my Ptolemaic cav, and they're doing brilliantly. Now I send my side chariots, and I bring my Sobek cultists close by. The side chariots will inflict a large number of casualties, and the Sobek cultists will ensure that all those casualties are, um, maximized, because they would just lead to enemy units routing, like this one, which was at 95 units, and this one, which is routing and wavering at 85. The rest of his units are routing as well, because fire arrows from my archers, and I think some of the fire arrows from his archers are affecting. He shouldn't have set them on fire arrows, but I think in the middle of the battle, it's pretty easy to lose track of all that. One of his Saki extraordinary are done with 110 men. They hardly inflicted any casualties, and they hardly lost any men. He left his general and bodyguard pretty far away from the rest of his army, because probably he didn't want to get them involved in the fight. Their encouraged ability could have been useful, but with this fear build, it's very hard to get it wrong. I set one of my Nubian spearmen and one of my Ptolemaic cav against his gen, and he's about to rout very quickly. In any case, almost all of his units are done, just mopping up the archers, and they're routing. And he had one Equites unit which was intercepted, and they routed as well. So I hope you understood the point of this battle, and I hope you gained some valuable information from this. I don't see many people playing Egypt, and while their cavalry isn't great, you can use their Sobek cultists and their general fear ability to great extent. Set your general to I forget what it's called, but the one with the Warcry ability, and that's an instant negative 15 or something like that penalty to morale. So you can easily you've got all the tools necessary to win. You have numbers, because you have six swordsmen, so most players bring 5 or 4, so you've got an edge over there. um, you have thorax swordsmen who can hold the line against most units, and very well against mid-tier units. And finally, you've got your scare infantry plus your archers, which is great, and you have your chariot, which will inflict a bunch of casualties. So you're good on the cavalry front, you're good on the infantry front, so, and you've also got the added fear penalty. So it's a very strong army, in my opinion. And the my opponent didn't really have much of a chance, especially with that army build. 8 Saki extraordinary. I wouldn't go with so many infantry. I'd probably bring some more equites. Not equites. I'd probably bring some better cavalry. One of his equites got 155 kills, which is pretty impressive. Maybe they caught some of my Galatian swordsmen or something. They caught my Nubian spearmen. Wow, one of them just died without causing any damage. So yeah, anyways, guys, that's the end of the tutorial. Just a pretty short tutorial, I think. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.